Are allowed in Ireland. That's according to the Taoiseach, who says it's extremely unlikely there will be blackouts despite concern about the grid. Higher than usual demand is expected over the coming days due to the cold weather. But Taoiseach Leo Varadkar says power won't be turned off for homes and small businesses.
The first port of call is to power down the large energy users, which are the data centres that have their own backup electricity. So that's not the problem. And we're not going to have a situation whereby the first call is on homes or farms or small businesses. That will be way down the line.
The Minister for Justice says the government is open to more dogs being added to the list of restricted breeds if needed. Ministers are due to consider tighter controls and rules around dog ownership following an attack on a young boy in County Wexford. The Taoiseach has since asked for a cross-ministerial response to dog control. Minister for Justice Heather Humphreys says she hopes a coordinated response will help reduce dog attacks in the future.
In relation to the dogs, I'm happy, as I said, to work with Minister McConlogue and Minister O'Brien, and of course we keep these things under review, and if we need to add more dogs onto that list, we'd be happy to do so.
It's 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Need a gift for Chris Kindle? Ryanair gift cards are the perfect gift.
Mainly dry tomorrow with sunny spells, highest temperatures of 0 to 4 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, in association with Movember. Effortless shave, magnificent mo.
This is News Talk.
Alright, it's 7 o'clock. You're tuned into Off the Ball on News Talk. It's Adrian with you until 10 tonight. We've got a packed show coming your way as always. No shortage of rugby talking points this week. We've Brian Driscoll lined up to chat to us about Eddie Jones, about Warren Gatland and about the Heineken Cup this weekend. The small matter gets kind of forgotten about in the maelstrom of all the other news this week. The World Cup continues apace. We're on the eve of the quarter-finals, of course. Plenty of events off the pitch as well. So Dan McDonald will join us from the World Cup for that. We're also going to talk to Marcela Mora Iaraco, who will cover all things South American football, mainly Argentina, and she is en route to the World Cup, so we'll talk to her in just a little bit. And John Giles will be along as well, who will have a say on plenty of stuff, I've no doubt, including Ronaldo. So that is all to come, whatever your thoughts are. Good evening to you, and wherever it is you are at this evening, hope you're well. If you have any thoughts about any of that or anything else that you want to get off your chest, text us in, leave a comment, wherever it is you're picking us up. Mick McCarthy, good evening to you.
Hello, Adrian. What a pleasure this is.
Cathal Mullaney, less sarcastic response hopefully from you. How are you getting on?
Evening, lads.
How's
that
the
was
form?
genuine. That was genuine.
I had to ask Mick just before we came on air there. What do we do? What happens at the start here again?
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of hand holding through this show, but I'm more than willing to do it. No, honestly, I messaged Nathan on Monday. Look, I'm not the greatest studier of the roster, I have to be honest. I do tend to miss.
And you said,
things.
Is there nobody else?
No, I messaged him on Monday asking him about a piece we were doing. So I don't know if it actually came true in the end. I can't even remember what it was. And he went, Adrian's presenting on Thursday. And I swear to God, I got a flutter of excitement.
Wow.
Go away.
God,
Adrian Barry.
There's nothing but compliments from the...
Adrian Barry, post 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
My usual thing, Mick, as you're aware, is I'm up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to come in here for AM, right? And you just get nothing but a volley of... Well, once a week, I'll grant you that. Nothing but a volley of abuse and bad-tempered people, cranky people at that time in the morning.
That's very true, yeah.
And it's nothing but compliments. I mean, I was tuned in the other week where Joe was giving me one of the greatest compliments I've ever been given about
you
rowing across the Atlantic.
He'd be the off-the-ball team member you'd pick to go across the Atlantic. It did come out of nowhere, I thought.
As I texted him afterwards to say I've put it straight up on my LinkedIn page and it's there now for forever. Anyway, it's great to be here.
You say you're in for AM. It's like that's what you do one day a week. You come in fairness, you get up very early in the morning for that. The rest of the week, I'd say Swanee and 10:30.
Oh, that's
coffee,
very harsh.
Coffee,
very harsh.
And then be hitting 4 then and be like, Jesus, I mean, the traffic
to get out of here, exactly, on the bus on the way home or the bike. That sums it up pretty. And then just saunter around the building when I'm here. I can't
here we are at 7:05 and it's like, how many cups of coffee have you had?
We've sweated the assets today in my part. I've had a lot of coffee, I have to admit. I tried to keep it to 2 generally, Carl, but I'm struggling with that today.
You'd need 1 or 2 in the early mornings, wouldn't you? They're tough.
You need a lot. Pacing myself on a Friday is it's not easy. But anyway, look, it's great.
And yet he still manages to finish last in the crappy quiz every week after.
I had somebody text me, a very good friend text me last week and said that she had only realised that the crappy quiz was pre-recorded in the morning and was giving me a free pass because assumed I was just really tired every Friday evening. So it was giving me a free pass on my sporting knowledge before realising that, it couldn't be to do with the tiredness. But there's no free pass to be given. My sporting knowledge or my ability to maintain what's happened in sport over the years is far less than my peers.
Yeah, but your knowledge
I'm
of
okay
the
with
day,
that.
as the PM only listeners will find out over the next 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Second to not too many.
Wow, the compliments keep coming. Right, so we've loads to come, and if you want to send in your abuse or whatever it is, do lash it into us over the course of the evening. And there's a few little bits and bobs that have happened at the World Cup today that have sort of caught our eye. Louis van Gaal will come to the Brazil celebrations. I might start with, because I just want to get this off my chest. I can't, the joylessness of Roy Keane, Jason Cundy for sure, Didi Hamann, saying that Brazil, I was watching the game on RTE, and a lot of the coverage is excellent, I must say. Some of the commentary is really superb. That took way longer than it should have.
There was a lot of silence there.
And I appreciate that there's probably some of the audience who don't quite get that joke, but we're not going to explain it. Didi Hamann, half time of the game, starts lambasting Brazil. Carl, you can sit out this conversation. Start lambasting Brazil for
Join in if you want, Carl.
for
No
dancing
censorship here.
in goal celebrations. It's the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's the World Cup. It's Brazil at a World Cup. They've scored some amazing goals. They're hitting their straps. The world is in love, starting to fall in love with this Brazil team. And the main bit of analysis at halftime is that we're not allowed to enjoy them dancing. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And then I realised that Roy Keane has been saying the same stuff on ITV.
has, yeah.
And then Jason Cundy, which is always a sure sign that you should be on the opposite side of the fence, is at the same stuff elsewhere. It just felt like, oh lads, come on, can we analyse some football or just talk about something else?
So when we were, I think Brazil scored like 3 during the news round. It was
Yeah.
in the first half an hour. So we were seeing them all as it happened and realising that this dance routine was a thing. And then later on that evening, like we were out back in the office and Joe was saying, would you say Roy Keane is for or against this? I was like, yes. And I was like, what possible problem could he have? And then it was like, he finds it disrespectful to South Korea. And I did immediately go, do you know what? They are celebrating for like 3-4 goals after a game. There is something disrespectful after a goal. There is something disrespectful about it. I do understand that. Ultimately, it is a bit of joylessness. The thing I'd say about the punditry though, Adrian, is if he feels that way, regardless of whether you disagree with him or not, I'd much rather he said it. I'd much rather Didi Hamann was an old curmudgeon giving out about everything that's happening, because at least there's a bit of life to it, and there's a bit of kind of like argument and a bit of I don't know, talking points.
I do take the point. It just felt like it was the go-to comment straight away after the analysis. It went back to it again, and it must have been a case that, like,
I can understand your frustration. Yeah,
it's just like, it was. I didn't find joyless. I loved it. Like, I loved it. It brings you back to the Romario baby days, and like it was just
Bebeto. Yeah.
Incredible. Like, just more of that. Can we have more? Like, please, when Brazil score again, please don't be second thinking that stuff. Get over with the manager and get in the mix.
And this is devil's advocate, you've no worries that they're like, spending so much time organising their double celebration that takes an extra 3 or 4 minutes, that they're taking their focus off the matter at hand, and that's winning a cold hard World Cup.
I'm a slave to TikTok, Mick, and I'm on there at the minute, and Marcus Rashford and Saka and all these players are tweeting bits and pieces that's going on behind the scenes. They have all the time in the world to do whatever the hell they want to do. There are loads of
to remember it in the moment. You've just scored a goal in the World Cup, and it's like, right, what's our routine?
But like, we were all, those three and maybe a lot of other people were sort of offended on South Korea's behalf. I actually haven't heard, I haven't gone looking for it now, I'm not going to lie, but I haven't seen anything from South Korea to say that they were like, this was an offence to the nation.
When has that ever mattered? Us taking offence on other people's behalf is
I just thought, like,
I think
it's a national trait.
I wonder what those analysts saying that it's not the right thing to do. Is it driven by, I know Roy Keane has spoken about a fear during his career that they didn't want to over-egg themselves or build themselves up for failure. And are Brazil setting themselves up for failure by celebrating the goals in that manner? Like,
I can't accept that because they're just celebrating a goal, and it's a different culture, right? Like, it's not like, we're not talking about the 70s where Kevin Keegan went over and shook hands with somebody and that was it. It's like, this is what they do. This is an expression of their inner selves, I think. I don't know.
I actually couldn't agree with you more. I'm just for the conversation.
And I'd expect nothing else from Carl than to stick up for his colleagues. So it's
No, but it's nonsense. This idea that we can't have a bit of fun part of the game.
It's a World Cup,
and that these players the older I get, the more I can say this, these kids can't have a bit of enjoyment about what they're doing is nonsense. Everything doesn't have to be serious and hard, and you can mix intensity, and you can mix preparation with enjoyment. There's no reason not to. It was probably something that wasn't available to Roy Keane. That's fine. We've seen him enjoy himself this week, but as a top player, it probably wasn't his cup of tea. It doesn't mean everybody's the same, and we should stop always assuming that everybody's like you, and if you don't do things in the way you did, then they're not doing things to the best of their ability.
It's only now that you said it. I presume the celebration was related to Brazil then. The exuberance was like.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I presume that was like a. Look, I've been giving out about this thing, and probably people have said stuff to me, and now.
Did you think that? I thought it was more that it was taking a piss out of his own general character, like as in like I'm someone who criticises celebrations and have done for years, rather than the specific Brazil thing.
I didn't. I have to say, I never had that thought until right now, and I'm liking it. Come here. The other one is Ronaldo. So, like, you know, he's never too far away from the headlines, even when he's not playing, and you know, mostly by his own doing. So, there was some reports saying that he had threatened to walk out the Portugal squad. That you know, he'd had enough of this, been bench stuff, and he was walking out. We're too united to be broken by outside forces, he said in an address to the media today, like in a way that felt like, you know, how dare you insult me by suggesting that I would be the type of personality to walk out of my squad from the person like who literally a couple of weeks ago like marched down the United tunnel and away from his team. It felt like I don't know. I kind of felt like this is true to the character of Ronaldo rather than being any kind of an insult.
Yeah. I think actually Portugal are in quite a good spot right now, and we spoke last night in the Newsround about the talented squad that they have. It's a little bit of a sideshow. I mean, they came out with a fairly decisive denial of that today, didn't they? The Portuguese side of things, about saying that there was no truth to the story, and Ronaldo as well. And you know, I think he could well have a huge role to play as this World Cup develops, and you know, it has opened up for them a little bit. Portugal and their win in the last round certainly would suggest that they've got all the tools to really make a mark in the closing stages of the tournament. So, from a Ronaldo point of view, I mean, it's been quite a couple of months from an image point of view.
You're right. You're right too. He may well have a big say. I was also thinking it's not that long ago that we should have beaten them, only for your man knocking a couple of goals in, which means that we're right at home in that kind of company, right? Like, this is Irish logic. We should be in a World Cup quarter-final, Mick.
I get grimmed out talking about Ireland at the moment, I have to say. It's almost like as if we had our... Who did we play? Malta and whoever it was.
Oman probably or something.
And we had our kind of week, and then the World Cup started, and it's like blessed relief we could enjoy football without having to think about Ireland for a little while. And then every time France or Holland play, or they're sort of, oh, this is coming around the corner. It's like, can we just wait until after Christmas, and then we'll start worrying about the never-ending depression that is Irish football. But sorry to cut across your point there. That's just how I personally feel. Ronaldo's legacy, though, I think it's hard to take yourself out at the moment, right? So we're very much in right now, but he's made so many. Let's see what happens with Portugal. He hasn't done anything yet. That's, you know, just people feel it's coming. The fake smile that's plastered on his face when they score can't last forever. And obviously what happened with United and Piers Morgan and everything like that, I don't know. Like, I mean, is that... It's not going to be what he's remembered for. I don't think it'll ever be far away from what people remember him like. So people, I think the people geez, what a footballer, but what a bollocks.
I think the people who don't like him will still not like him when he retires, and the people who really like him will really like him after he retires. I find him a pain in the arse, to be honest with you, but that's... you know, that's the media. That's the media for you, Mick.
The media.
Twisting the knife. Righto, you are watching Off the Ball, or listening to Off the Ball, and we're with you every evening, of course, with Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day. Carl, you're going to kick us off with news from the FAI today.
Yeah, the FAI has been fined €20,000 by UEFA after the women's team sang a song which referenced the IRA. It happened while they were celebrating their World Cup playoff victory over Scotland at Hampden Park in October. European football's governing body ruled it was a violation of the basic rules of decent conduct, and the FAI has since accepted the fine and says players and staff have been and will continue to be reminded of their responsibilities.
Be full stop in that then, and we can just stop talking about it. Is that?
That's what I thought today. Actually, I thought it's not draconian or mad. It's a decent, noteworthy amount, and it might draw a line under it.
I think
the
so.
wording is interesting though. It's like, decent behaviour. But yeah, fine. Like,
probably fair enough. You just accepted the chin. They were out very quickly. They handled it.
They
all very
came
well
out
at
themselves.
that time.
Exactly. Yeah. Done. Let there be no more said.
Couple of texts in. The dancing is in response to the racism in Spain about Vinicius Junior's dancing. One from John in Dublin. On the goal celebrations, it's also been noticeable that a few teams are having little group huddle team talks after the celebration. There could be a reason why there's so much stoppage time, but either way, referees should be cracking down on it. So, like, a little bit of an opportunity to have a conflab.
Yeah, water break.
Yeah,
there you go. And on the Ireland thing, two teams that we've come across fairly recently, Serbia and Denmark, both absolutely flopped at this tournament.
So we're not in that good.
Who we hold up as, powerhouses whenever we meet them.
Yeah. Like Serbia have a really good squad as well, but they finished bottom of their group, and Denmark as well. Didn't happen at all.
You're making the counterpoint to we should be in the World
And
Cup
also,
quarterfinals.
that was a Ronaldo Portugal team, and we saw what a non-Ronaldo Portugal team looks like. Very, very different in the tournament. It's like, even in this tournament, they were scraping by 1-0, not playing well. And then, I don't know if everybody agrees, but like Switzerland aren't rubes, and then to do that, what they did to them, and play as well as they did, they're contenders now.
I think
you genuinely think Portugal
definitely
could win this tournament.
Definitely. And is there a thing now, even more so, is there more of a disparity between the top teams and the so-called lesser teams, that teams can time their run, in inverted commas, in a tournament or even in a qualifying campaign? Because
I often wonder how much of that is down to chance, the timing of the run stuff. I often think there's like people write that stuff after the fact, that there's a bit of retrospection that fits the narrative. Like, because it's bloody, you're walking a high wire act if you're saying we're only going to hit our straps by the quarterfinals, let's say. Like, that's a high wire act, because it may not happen.
Now look at Germany.
Yeah.
Bigger teams
Spain.
like that. Belgium. Perhaps.
More news too from the RFU today. Colin?
Yeah, they've pledged a further €1 million funding to women's rugby in Ireland. It comes after the launch of the Women's Rugby in Ireland report earlier today. The additional funding will be on top of the $5.5 million announced last month. And among the recommendations included in today's report is a revamp of the All-Ireland League into 2 divisions of 6 teams. Here's Fiona Steed, chair of the IRFU's Women's Subcommittee, on those plans.
The majority of people that were either interviewed or participated in the survey found that the current WAIL isn't what they would call fit for purpose, and it's something that the steering group agreed with. This was based on, I suppose, a lot of the differences in the score lines, which is not unique to the WAIL. If you look in the Alliance 15s, there's a similar discrepancy between the clubs at the top and the clubs near the bottom of a table. There's often a big difference in scores. The same happens in, I suppose, the top 8 in France. So we're not unique in that. But one of the key recommendations was that we'd look at that we'd review it and see what best fits our game in Ireland and what we can do to make it fit for purpose for everybody. And the primary recommendation is obviously that we split it into a 6 and a 6, so that you'd have a premiership and a championship in effect. This will allow for greater, I suppose, competitiveness between the teams in each division.
Seems like another positive step for the women's game here, and I think that certainly, obviously, the €1 million has been given over, and it's never going to be enough in some regards. But in the short term, it does seem like they've gone about that review in all the right ways. They've engaged all the right people. They've identified that the structures need changing, which of course they do. And it's never going to be everything in one fell swoop, but it does feel like, and I haven't had a chance to fully, it was only published I think earlier on today, fully read the report, but that it's a good positive step.
Yeah, and I think they do need more money. Reading Rory O'Connor in the Independent, that they still need another $1 million or more to finance what they want to finance in the women's game. But as you say, it's quite an extensive report, and those changes for the AIL seem pretty extensive as well, to 2 divisions of 6 teams, which, when you consider there's only 9 teams in a one-tier division at the moment, is quite a good step forward. And as Fiona Steed said in the clip there, that the gaps between the teams in some of the matches may evaporate if that structure were to come into place, but there is a lot of work to do, but at least today is a starting point.
Yeah, it's still, it does need more though. I don't mean to be like, it's not being negative for the sake of it. Like, is it these things, you either invest in them properly and do them to the best of your ability and grow it and make it something in itself, or you trickle down a little bit to get naysayers off your back but don't actually do enough to properly grow the game and make it into a proper entity by itself, standalone. I think we're on the way. I do. I don't think that there's an intention to just kind of get people off their backs here, but the sum still isn't anywhere near where it needs to be.
No, they are, if you did such a job, and are lauded continuously for the work that they did around the men's game when they turned professional, how they managed that. We're still bearing out the legacy of that right now. So you'd hope that they could apply similar logic to...
it's not the same people, but I suppose
no, it isn't, and they're already behind the likes of obviously England and France. Another text in: overanalysation of sport is definitely one of the biggest problems nowadays. You're literally analysing a man's celebration of scoring a goal in a five-a-side game. Come on, lads, game's gone. I mean, the overanalysation of sport is the way that text starts, as they text a sports show.
Did you? I watched it again this morning though. The wheelie bin wasn't the Irish size wheelie bin.
I heard you talk about a wheelie bin. It looked like a little old stump of a thing.
It wasn't quite a stump of thing, but I thought it was Irish size wheelie bin, and I looked at it again and it wasn't anywhere close.
Usually made about to be ready for the Olympics.
Yeah, I thought what was the Duncan McKenzie jumping over a mini?
That's right. And it was totally a deflection.
Oh, I definitely think it was deflection. Yeah. I think Cathal and Joe were against me on that one.
No. I mean, you're purist, Cathal, and I admire it, but definitely took a nick in the wind.
Goals count though, don't they?
Anything Keane does, listen.
Everything counts.
Thanks for texting in.
But I don't know, I feel like we could go another level or two on that one, I have to say.
You think we could break out a bit of the sort of the circular and you could have passed here or whatever else?
I wouldn't mind another angle.
The circular. I'm sure there's another technical word for that, another angle on it. Right, fixtures are out for the GA, Carl.
Yeah, they've confirmed their master calendar for next year in the meeting of Connacht rivals Galway and Mayo as one of the big games on the opening weekend of the Allianz Football League at the end of January. All-Ireland champions Kerry are set to begin the defence of their Division 1 crown away to Donegal on January 29th. The other Division 1 fixtures see Roscommon host Tyrone and Monaghan take on Armagh. In hurling, Limerick will face Cork in the opening fixture of their Division 1A campaign. That's on Saturday, February the 4th. In the same group, Wexford meet Galway and Clare welcome Westmeath to Ennis. In 1B, Antrim host Kilkenny, Tipperary take on Laois, and there will be a meeting of two new managers as Davy Fitzgerald's Waterford go up against Micheál Donoghue's Dublin at Walsh Park. The Provincial Football Championships are scheduled to begin on the weekend of April 8th and 9th, with their hurling equivalent underway from April 22nd and 23rd. The All-Ireland hurling final will take place on the 23rd of July, with the football decider a week later, and all of those details emerged after the confirmation of that master fixture plan earlier today.
So is that 2 weeks later? Are we gone back 2 weeks or one?
I think, is it one? Was it 24th for the football final last year, off the top of my head?
Okay, so we'll go back 1 week. I'd say they'll put another week back in next year, and then we'll be settled.
We'll settle on that for
I just think that's where we're kind of ending up. But I think they probably feel vindicated at this time of year. You know, there's been, I think the players' reaction mixed with the fact that I think a lot of people have come around to it. The idea of the split season, I think it probably is just the way it's going to stay now. I do think they will stretch the summer out just a little bit. Maybe another 2 weeks before it finishes. But yeah,
that'll be about right.
September finals are definitely a thing of the past anyway.
Right, we chatted about your man, Carl.
Yeah, the Portuguese Football Federation has denied reports Cristiano Ronaldo threatened to leave their World Cup squad during an exchange with the head coach Fernando Santos. The former Manchester United forward was left out of the starting lineup for his country's 6-1 thrashing of Switzerland in the last 16 in Qatar. He came on as a second-half substitute. Meanwhile, Raheem Sterling is flying back to rejoin England's World Cup squad and could take part in training tomorrow. The Chelsea forward missed last Sunday's last 16 victory over Senegal after his home in Surrey was burgled, but he's now making his way back and could feature against France in their last 8 tie on Saturday. And teammate Calvin Phillips believes having Sterling available will be a major asset to the squad.
Yeah, massive lift. Raheem's an amazing player, and we're just happy that everything's all right, and he can rejoin us and play a big part in the next game, which we're really looking forward to.
Sorry, I'm slightly distracted, and it's great to see Raheem Sterling getting back in the mix. Well done, good man.
Very late.
Very late to what?
I'm surprised he's only rejoining the squad now. I suppose it's like Thursday. It'll be Friday before he trains.
He was only home a couple of days, was he?
For Saturday game. I don't know. I was just saying during the week, I don't think he's getting his place back in the team.
Yeah, you'd be surprised if he featured, wouldn't you?
Nearly from a Momus as well. It's not as if they've. They look.
That's what I mean. Yeah. His absence His absence has produced probably a better team.
Paul Little, football writer, Paul Little, good evening to you. Paul is in touch. Lads, nothing wrong with the one dance after a goal, but then Neymar hanging on so we can have a separate dance and the score, and then one with the subs. Too long and too much. Look back at the other Brazil sides. Never carried on so long. Culture my arse.
Do you know if you were playing FIFA and somebody does all the celebrations after they score against you? And I think you can just mash the buttons and make it move on now. But definitely there was a time when you had to wait for them to do it. And it is the most annoying thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you feel like when they get into the second or third dance on the same celebration. You can only have one celebration. Just do the dance straight away.
I'm not having it. Also, Paul Howard.
I've changed my mind on this 4 times in this Newsround.
Writer and general, one of the most amazing.
Yeah, we know who
country.
Paul Howard is.
So he's backing up my point. I'm trying to give him the. He sent a link saying the Brazil team know how to score, how to celebrate goals. A link as far back as 1982, and Falcao and Zico and all these guys with great celebrations. I mean, for the time, I think they would have been seen. They would have been the Roy Keane at the time, going, "Oh my God, I can't! Why isn't he just giving his teammate a pat in the back and shaking his hand? What's all this stuff about?" I think it's amazing. I'm all for it. What else have we got, Carl? Where are we after?
What's the after match line? It was like, in my day, it was just a hug and a kiss.
Next to football here at home in the Republic of Ireland international, Stephanie Roche is the latest player to sign for Shamrock Rovers. The striker joins from Peamount United ahead of the new season. Roche is the 4th Peamount player to sign for the Hoops. Anya Gorman, Alana McAvoy and Summer Lawless have also moved to the club. And the league today received a rebrand as well, with the Women's National League now set to be known as the League of Ireland Women's Premier Division. And there are some new logos as well for the Men's Premier Division and First Division as well.
An email in here from somebody who says, even for me, who's Brazilian, we know that the dance of Brazil, repeated several times, was offensive and disrespectful. So this is from the people of Brazil, have emailed us this evening to say this. Even worse is that Vinny Jr. did it after the match. What he did after the match, when he appeared enjoying a giant and expensive piece of golden steak at one of the most expensive restaurants in Qatar. His action tended to cause envy in his old and very poor brothers in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. I hope Croatia scores several times tomorrow, says Giuliano from Brazil. I mean, there's a lot going on in that email, including the golden steak stuff. I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't understand why. Do you know your man Salt Bay? You know your man who does the salt off the elbow business? You know that one? He's giving it all that. You're looking at me as if you haven't a clue what I'm talking about. Carl, you know what I'm talking
so
about.
Much time on TikTok here, you don't even.
Well, he's even Arthur's like he's all over that golden steak stuff. They take steak and they literally wrap it in gold leaf and then they give it out to you. Why would you want to be eating gold? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Then you take away the gold, eat the steak.
No, they actually eat the whole thing. Like, that's going into you, Mick. I just don't get it.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I'm all for
Not
steak
for me.
as much as the next person. One last story first, Carl.
Yeah, let's go to Spain. And Luis Enrique has stepped down as Spain manager following his side's exit from the World Cup. They were eliminated by Morocco on penalties in the last 16 on Tuesday after just one win in this year's tournament. And the Spanish Football Association has decided not to renew his contract following his second spell in charge of the national team. Enrique will be replaced by under-21 manager Luis de la Fuente on Monday.
I mean, I think we should take cognizance of an email from Brazil. I can't be blind to the fact that, the Brazilian people have spoken to us this evening and they're...
It's interesting. We rarely get emails during the show.
They're with Roy and Jason Cundy, so...
Yeah, well, look, I mean, again, are you sure that that's from Brazil? Have you tested the IP?
No.
ISP? What's the expression?
Yes, the test of USB there, yeah. I know what you're saying, all right, I just can't think of it.
Yeah, you're just, I'm just saying that you're making a big proclamation there that the people of Brazil want them to lose 7-0 to Croatia. I think that's a big statement.
I was only reading it, to be honest, about the golden steak. It was like, that's what jumped out at me. Mick, Carl, thanks William. Fair play, time for the cash machine.
Well done.
All you need for Christmas.
News Talk's Christmas Cash Machine.
All right, after 5 winners in a row, we've now consecutive rollovers, so it means a massive number to play for on Friday. If you've entered since 5 o'clock on Tuesday, you're still in to win, but you must